going to start by making sure that our map is locked, and we're actually going to turn off our icons. I'm going to be doing the patriciate part, but I don't want the text to interfere with the drawing. So I'm going to turn off the icon visibility, and I'm going to start a new layer, and I'm going to draw over top of that. I have a 3-point stroke that's blue and colorful. It's not going to be white because that might be hard to see. So we're going to try to go for the biggest shapes we can. I can tell that this is just one shape, and it's not a bunch of other buildings arranged like it looks like a shape. We're going to take our pen tool, and we're going to hit the biggest shape possible. I'm not holding anything like Control or Shift or Alt, and I'm going to come over, and I'm going to make sure that I hit the last vertex to close the shape. And then I'm going to do my roads, because I can tell that that's the second most important part of how the buildings are shaped. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to go on the outside of the shape, always the outside for the roads. I'm going to go on the outside right there. I'm going to start on the outside, and then I'm going to snap to the path. Snap to the path. Start at this path, and then go to the outside. I'm going to select all of my roads, and I need to make them thicker. So I come over here, or in the stroke panel, because I don't know if older versions have this property panel. I'm going to put the stroke at about 7. Now I want to make them into actual shapes that I can cut out of the larger shape. So you go to Object and then Expand, or you hit F12, and we want to make sure that we have our stroke checked on. This is going to turn it from individual paths to actual rectangles. So I hit OK, and now I have a bunch of different rectangles. Since I have 3 and I want 1, I'm going to go to my Pathfinder panel. If you don't have that, then it's going to be in Window, Pathfinder. So I'm going to, with my Pathfinder panel selected, I'm going to do the Unite feature, and that's going to turn this from 3 rectangles into one odd shape. So I'm going to cut out this shape from the one below it by selecting both of them, holding Shift and selecting both of them, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do something called minus front, and that's going to cut out this part from the one that's below. I hit that, and now I have my regions. So now I'm going to take my pen tool, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to snap to the path right here. So I snap to this part of the path, and then I snap to that part, and I'm holding Control and then left clicking to break so that I can easily go to another section. I snap to that path, and I snap to that path. It wants to keep drawing, so I hold Control and I left click. Now I snap to this path, and I snap to this path. Now I'm going to select all of them because we want them to be filled as well. And one way to really do this that's cool and that will give us easy way to color them individually is by using Live Paint. So I hit K on the keyboard, and I'm going to click on this to make it a Live Paint group. This is kind of like the drop bucket, but since we snapped all these paths and they're cleanly intersected, I can now color them in individually. I'm going to show how to do that by switching my fill and my stroke, holding Shift and then hitting X. So that turns that stroke into a fill, and with my Live Paint tool, just hover over this region and click. And now I click, and I can click and drag, click, click and drag. Now the advantage of doing that is that I can just select all of that now, and come over into Object and Live Paint, and then Expand. So I now have a group right here that's the entire art piece. I have a group that's only my strokes, and I have a group that's only my fills. This makes it easy to go to the transparency panel. Say I have the group with the fills selected, and I bump the opacity down to like 20. That gives me a nice clean color label, and these are both the same color technically. The opacity it's more transparent right here. But this is the basic process that you would use for any of these. you want to try to hit the biggest shapes possible. So you would actually want to do the roads of all of these first. You'd want to actually do the roads first, but that might be a little too complex, so we might just go ahead and do that, and then I'll go over it later. Or it might give it a little bit of flair.